somewhere in an alternative universe right now, there is a podcast called Iblis Manifestations featuring guest Nunslaughter. So maybe we can outdo those guys. So let's talk about the new album, man. I've just been blasting it at the gym, Satanic Chaos Legions, and what a tremendous record, man. I really like the direction that you took with this one. The production, I actually liked the production and how kind of fresh and in your face it was. So tell me all about it, man.
We've been using the same, I guess, producer for the past 13 years or more. It's actually our current guitar player, Noah Buchanan, his studio, Mercenary Studios. So he started off, how he actually got in the band. We were recording Angelic Dread at his studio, and we had a tour set up for Europe, but we didn't have a guitar player. And so while we're in the studio with him talking, we mentioned, we don't have anybody to play guitar. And he said, "You mean if I learn these songs, I can go to Europe?" We said, myself and Jim Sadist said, yeah, absolutely. So he quickly learned the songs and went to Europe. That was our kind of our introduction to Noah. And then basically Nunslaughter's been working with him ever since. So he also did the last album, Red is the Color, Ripping Death. And I think he kind of one-upped it on this Satanic Chaos Legions. And, he's over the years, he's acquired better equipment and more skills and whatnot. But yeah, for the most part, all of the I guess the texture or quality of the sound comes directly from Noah.
That's tremendous. And Angelic Dread came out in 2014. Is that correct?
That seems about right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I can appreciate a question like that taking you a while to think about, given the extreme number of releases that you've got under your belt with Nunslaughter. But yeah, I think it was thereabouts. There we go. Yeah, it is. Oh, that was a good guess. I'm just looking at it on Metal Archives now, and that came out in 2014. So pretty much everything since then has been by Noah. But yeah, man, it sounded fantastic, and I just thought, bands who've been around for as long as you have, it's rare to stay this consistent to the style and the sound. I mean, how do you kind of keep up with that? I mean, it has to come from an organic place for it to be ending up like that, right?
Yeah, and I know bands like to they like to change and experiment and maybe gain more followers. I never liked that about bands. Usually, if I like the way the band sounds on the demo or the first album or the second album, I kind of want them to continue with that sound. And so that was always part of my thinking. Even back in the 80s, I never wanted Nunslaughter to necessarily change the sound of the band. And that's obviously 40 years ago, recording equipment was different. We've gone through better musicians. Different guitar setups and this kind of thing. But I think the core sound of how the songs are created, played, and recorded hasn't changed as that much, considering other bands. And that was always in my mind, to not change the sound of the band. It does become difficult, and some of the people that we've worked with in the past, wanted to come in and put their own flair into the music, and it was a part of contention that they had with me, because I was so adamant about not changing, and it would piss them off and they'd quit or whatever. But I'm still here.
You are, and that's
keeping the flag flying.
I mean, listen, man, that's impressive. Because it's like, it's one thing saying that, but people, when they hear something like this, they really have to put it into the context of what it means to be that consistent, not just in what you say, but in action. and in that laser focused intention that you have with the band and the kind of thing that you're trying to put out there. I mean, we're talking what, pretty much 40 years now at this point
It's
of the
about
band
40
being
years.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane, man. Well done. Congratulations. I mean, before anything.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a long haul.
Yeah. And I think that to that point as well, as you said, a lot of people will want to come in and put their own flair on things, you know, which is like kind of like that's their right. That's everyone's right as an artist, you know, but that also doesn't necessarily mean that we have to share the same path. Like you can go and do your own band, but this is what Nunslaughter is going to be like, and this is what people listen to it for.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I was so tell me a little bit more about this new album, because I want to kind of dig into this. The lyrics, obviously, like very positively Christian, of course, as as expected. So yeah, man, let's get into that a bit. You know, I mean, like, was there anything that kind of like any sort of like personal anecdotes that kind of bled through the lyrics for this one?
Well, I think as a whole, the record started forming almost 2 years ago. So although the music and recordings are fresh for most people listening to it, these songs have been kind of some of them have been on the back burner for even longer than 2 years. And we just as we when we would meet, we meet every week for practice. There's usually like a little jam session for everybody kind of warm up and get the sound of the room, and that's when songs start to develop. The guitar player will play some couple of riffs, and the drummer will come in, and if it sounds good, we say, "Oh, well, we should keep that, or let's expand on it." And then we do our regular practice, and sometimes we go back to it, and then we just kind of put everything on a hard drive, and you know, as it stacks up, we had I think 18 songs that were, you know, pieces and parts, but they were pretty much, you know, there, and we had to finish them off, and then of course give them titles and lyrics. So some of these songs have been around for years. Nobody's heard them, including the band, up until we recorded them. But as far as lyrics goes, I leaned a little heavier on the other members of the band. Both the bass player and the guitar player have some songs that they wrote completely on here, and then the majority of the songs are myself, or maybe the guitar player would give me a verse, and I would expand on it for the whole song, or somebody would say something or a line, and then I'd kind of build around it. But for topics, we made a conscious effort to kind of go for the throat of Christianity. It was we didn't dance around it. How some bands, they're very eloquent in how they phrase their disdain. We kind of went for the throat. Everything's very much on the nose. You know, you don't have to read into the lyrics.
Just the song titles alone, I think, speak for themselves.
Right. Yeah. So that's how what I really liked about the how the lyrics for the whole album turned out is that they are a collaboration of three of the members of the band. So everybody kind of got a little voice, or you know, put their own thoughts into their disgust of Christianity, I guess.
Absolutely. And look, you know, I'm a free speech guy, so I like bands to be able to criticize whatever the hell they want to criticize, you know, be it as religion or politics or their next door neighbor, whatever it is, man. You know, that's all good by me. A lot of people in the scene now, particularly, it's a very common thing that I've come across now, is when they say, oh, you know, like criticizing Christianity is kind of like beating a dead horse at this point, you know, like if you're really like brave, then go and criticize Islam. And what's your thoughts on that? Like, where do you stand on that? Because obviously you're still very much going after Christianity, and as you said, it's very much on the nose. It's like, there's like nothing that you've kind of like you're not hiding away any of your thoughts or feelings about it. So where do you stand on that, on those sort of perspectives?
Well, I think maybe for people that either aren't in a band or don't write lyrics, um, they they've got their opinion. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, so they're not necessarily right or wrong. That's just how they feel. But for me, um, there's been no other religion that has imposed its will on me other than Christianity, and especially living here in the United States, uh, Christian fundamentalism is on the rise, and so it lends itself to uh, criticism by by myself or Nunslaughter or other people and other religions. I mean, there's 100 plus other religions in the world. They don't have that kind of influence on either politics or my life or how I live my life, and so I don't care. I don't care about those religions, or they don't affect me as greatly as Christianity does here in the United States.
I understand that. So essentially, it's a case of the devil, you know.
Yeah, that's I would be, um, I guess, without words to criticize other religions because I don't know anything about them, um, and I have no basis, no reference point.
Mm-hmm.
But with Christianity, I have many.
I understand that. Hey there, I would like to bring this episode to a quick halt for the following message. As many of you already know this, I go by the nickname That Mental Coach. The reason for that is exactly because I work full-time as an online fitness coach as well as a personal trainer where I help people attain their fitness goals. Having been someone who was once extremely out of shape and borderline obese, I was able to lose over 40 kilos and basically keep that weight off. And now it is my job to help others achieve the same thing. And I have had many clients from all across the world, all the way from US to Australia to Germany to Poland to the UK, where I'm currently based, where we work together. You don't have to be in the UK to work with me. You can be anywhere in the world as long as you've got specific fitness goals that you want to achieve and you've got access to training equipment, then we can work together. If this is something that interests you, you can use the link on the Trial by Fire website and you can use the contact link to contact me, and then I will be in touch with you. Otherwise, you can just send me a DM on any of my social medias. You can use my personal Instagram, That Metal Coach, or you can even send me a message on the Iblis Manifestations Instagram, and we'll see how I can help you. Anyway, with that said, hope you enjoy the rest of the episode, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. I think that's a very honest take, you know, because I think that should be the reason why you make art. You know, it's not necessarily to fit in with trends or anything, but reflect on what's your own experience of something. What are perhaps like some of your more personal anecdotes with Christianity? With like, what are some of the examples that you're happy to share about, let's say, certain cases or situations where you feel like the religion imposed itself on you?
Well, I think for a lot of people here in the United States, you know, you're baptized without even your consent. I'm pissed off about it that my mother had me baptized. There was no reason for it. I got involved in the Christian cult without even knowing it. Only a few months after taking my first breath, and I think that that's cruel to do to people. I think that the punishment that or the guilt that they impose on children, newborns, is horrible to start off with, thinking that you've done something wrong because you're born with original sin, according to these Christian folks. I think that's terrible to tell somebody. The kid didn't even do anything, and now he's already fucked. He's going to hell all of a sudden because he's born. That's kind of shitty. So it all started from that. I was put in this Christian cult very early on, like a lot of people. And then I had to go to, I was subjected to go to CCD, or basically Sunday schools, and they're teaching about the Bible and all this Jesus stuff. And then at the age of 13, I became confirmed by the church, which basically means they recognize you as a member of the church. And now I'm allowed to start giving tithings. I don't know too many 13-year-olds that have a good career going by that time and are able to donate 10-15% of their earnings to the church, but that's what becoming a member of the church is all about. And so after I got confirmed, that very night, I got in the car and my mom said, do you want to go to church anymore? And I said, absolutely not. And I never had to go again. And my mother had turned away from the church years before this. She just felt it was something that she was supposed to do as a mother, showing their kid the good light of the Lord, I guess. And she had already turned her back on Christ and all that shit years before. But so I never had to go back.
That's really interesting, man. You know what? First of all, I appreciate you sharing that. And I very much relate to that personally from the perspective of Islam, because that is exactly the religion that I personally grew up with in Iran. And I was actually a practicing Muslim for a long time, up until I was about 14, 15 years old. And then I started to ask questions, and then nobody was able to answer these questions. And then I realized, well, they couldn't answer these questions. That's why, and there's a lot of very, very backwards things in the Islamic religion. And then obviously, then you start to enter the historical element of it, that where Islam literally has Iranian blood on its hands and Persian blood, and has been responsible for the oppression of our people for close to 800 years. And this is where like I very much relate to you, man. It's something that you kind of grew up with. You're told, hey, you need to think this, you need to believe this, and I think that finding that truth kind of on your own can be a disheartening thing, so it can turn you to do a lot of also fucked up shit just to kind of rebel against that. It's like, whatever you say, I'm gonna do the exact opposite now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's rebellious teen years. That's what you get.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And look, like we've all been there, and it's like obviously over time you realize, okay, like you can criticize the faith, and be a critical thinker without necessarily destroying your own life in the process. I think that's something that comes a bit with age. But
yeah, I think the important thing is there's I'm also I'm outspoken, and I let people know my views on Christianity. But I think, especially living here in the United States, I think that if they want to practice whatever religion, I don't care what people practice. I don't. I guess I wouldn't infringe on their right to practice anything. It's strange that I wouldn't impose anything, my views on let's say Christianity, but Christianity tries to impose their will on me, and I think that that's wrong. So that's a little hypocrisy there. That I think quite a few other religions as well. It's my way or you're wrong. It's not like, well, you can have a viewpoint, I can have a viewpoint.
Yeah, I hear you on that, and I feel like it's majority. I feel like Catholicism is highly responsible for a lot of that behavior. Obviously, not exclusively, but I think to me, if you were genuinely to be a good Christian, it should be about your own personal relationship with your God, right? And you don't need the entire rest of the world to believe and think exactly in the same way that you do. No, it's just a personal relationship, and hopefully that makes you a better person and allows you a better path to life. It allows you a form of enlightenment. And if that is the case, by the way, I totally support it. I think that's amazing, because if you can go to those places, no problem. We don't all have to think the same. And I feel similarly to a lot of Muslims as well, despite having a great deal of disdain about the ideology itself and just finding it generally backwards and incompatible with human life, particularly in the Western world and in the Eastern world, actually. But nevertheless, as an individual who's practicing that faith, and as long as it's just about the individual, and you're not necessarily intending on imposing or aggressing. I think aggressing is a really good word to use here. As long as you're not intending on doing that, then you know what? So be it. I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you think? Like, let's say if let's say a Christian person is currently like listening to the latest Nunslaughter album, like what would you say to them? Because the metalheads, they already know.
Don't take it personally.
Don't take it personally. Because the metalheads already know. They're already thinking like, okay, yeah, we know what we're getting here. We're coming in for this, and we are the target audience. But let's say a Christian person who's simply like curious, or like somebody told them, hey, check this out, see what these guys are saying, and then they listen to it. Would you just say to them, don't take it personal?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you kind of touched on it there, where being involved in this, like say, death metal scene, a lot of times lyrics and subject matter becomes very passe, and we kind of don't realize as metalheads or death metal heads, we don't realize how offensive some of the lyrics can really be. And then like a normal person hears it and they're like, I can't believe that person said that, or I can't believe that that's what they're talking about. And then you have to kind of put yourself in their place, like, oh, well, gee, I didn't even think of that. To me, it just kind of goes in one ear and out the other. Mm-hmm. But to someone who isn't accustomed to hearing these kinds of things, it could be very offensive. But yeah, what I like is that I'm able to say those things and criticize, and I don't really have much fear of any repercussions from either our government or the religious right. I mean,
Mm. Well, I like your thinking there, man. I think that's a very reasonable way of looking at it, actually, and it's a very balanced overview. And also, it means that you use the music, and I don't want to be, of course, presumptuous about your artistic expression, but the impression I'm getting is that you're using the music simply as means of exercising those thoughts and those feelings and letting it out there, and then once it's out there, it's kind of out of your system, essentially.
The lyrics are pretty much just stories about what I like to hear about, and they're not. I hope nobody out there thinks I'm going out slaughtering nuns and raiding convents and stuff, because those are just stories.
Yeah, man, that song is just phenomenal. Raid the Convent is like absolute classic, man. What a song.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. It's just I don't know what it is. It's like sometimes, you can have, I think I read somewhere that you guys have something close to like 300 songs in your entire back catalog.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes I don't know if you really get to decide like which one is gonna be the one, and Raid the Convent just happens to be the one that I feel like truly, in my opinion at least, like really encapsulates the essence of the band. And when you listen to it, you can't help but like bang your head, and start like pulling that face, So I don't know. Did you feel that at the time when you were like writing the song, that thinking that, oh yeah, this is gonna be the one that's gonna get a lot of attention?
No, and that happens for quite a few of our songs. When it all germinated from we were doing a session at a friend's house for this record called the Blood Devil record, and Jim and I were just talking, and I said something to him like something about yeah, we should raid the convent, and he made the statement. He said, "That's a really good song title. We should use that." And then a few weeks or months later, he kind of had a rough idea of the music with no lyrics or anything, and he gave it to me, and I brought it home. It was on a boombox, and I listened to it a couple of times, and it was much shorter, the measures, and I probably dicked around with it for a week or two, and then came back to practice. And I said, "Jim," I said, I cannot write anything for this, because keep in mind it was much shorter riffs." And he said, "You want me to write it?" And I said, "Yes, just give it a go." So he went home, and in his mind, he was always writing. He was a very prolific music writer. And so he expanded it and changed some things and came back in. He had written out probably 90% of the lyrics the way that he wanted them. And the song got restructured. And when I started singing the lyrics, they fit perfectly. And so I give Jim all that credit. But it was one of these songs. Most of the songs, when you're so close to it, you don't realize what is going to be. I don't know, popular, but it might fan favorites, let's call it. And that song as well, it was just another song that we wrote, put it on a record, and it just happened to be that once it came out, people started hearing it. That's what they were suggesting at live shows, like, "Oh, you should play Raid the Convent." So we just started playing it. Now it's been on the set list for 20 some years.
Yeah.
Almost every show we've ever played had that song on it. So we've been able to kind of drive it home, performing it live. But sometimes you just write a song. I mean, there's been songs that we've written, even on this new record. There's a song called two songs specifically, "Christian Ruse" and "Heavenless."
Oh yeah.
And there's a little bit slower songs. "Heavenless" is definitely slower. "Christian Ruse" was kind of written as it was a throwaway track. It was a couple of riffs that we put together and we recorded it, and then I was like, it's still not, it's not doing anything for me. And Noah went in and did some little production highlights, and then I wrote the lyrics. And once we got the lyrics placed on there, and he did some studio magic, all of a sudden I was like, damn, this is like one of my favorite songs on the whole record. Like it towards the end, it does pick up, but for the most part, it's a slow burn.
Yeah.
And then the song "Heavenless" was not even going to be on the record. Like, it was literally not on the track listing. We had another song in its place, and our A&R person for Black to Black asked us if we had any extra songs for a Japanese bonus track. And we actually didn't even remember that we had a song because it didn't have a title or any lyrics. And so we opened up the sessions again, and Noah did, and he looked and he says, "Hey, we have this one song we never finished." And it was just the music. And we said, well, this will be good for a bonus track, for a Japanese bonus track. And he had already written lyrics for a song. It was just there. And just through a little bit of massaging and tweaking, the lyrics fit basically perfect. And so we recorded it, and we gave it to Black, and they said, well, this is a very strong song. You should swap it out for another song and put this on the album. And we're like, oh, really? And so we did. And then after a few weeks of listening to it, I completely agree. I think it was a stronger song, and I'm glad that they decided to or suggest, like, hey, use this song. So you never know. And when you're creating it, you're so close to it, and then all of a sudden you hear it, and you're like, oh, this is much better than what I thought we had. So
Yeah. I totally know exactly what you're talking about as well, because we actually like I'm more or less fresh out of the studio myself, so I know exactly the feeling, like you're, because you also get to hear it for so long. You kind of listen to it from the performer's perspective, not a listener's perspective, like you
Yeah.
need to leave some kind of like a cool down period before you can actually sit down and maybe enjoy it, if you even get to that point, because some people just feel like they have to move on and never listen to it again. you know but yeah, no, I think it's a good song. I remember particularly enjoying those when I was in the gym. I really enjoyed listening to Pukerist as well. That was a good song too.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's another one. It's like it's slow, and we're not used to necessarily doing. Most of our stuff is like mid-paced and then faster, and so slower tracks usually we don't. They just don't get created. We just don't start off that way. But Pukerus was one that it was a slow track, and as it developed, and then once it got a song title and put lyrics and the idea started to come together of Pukerist, um, we all decided we're like, oh, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I think the album just flows really well. I think the track listing is really strong, and yeah, it has a great pace to it. And as you said, those slower moments I think really serve the album. It adds a lot more dynamic without it being sort of like just kind of like flat. Well, obviously it's high energy when it starts, but then it's kind of like those dynamics kind of just allow for you to kind of engage with it a bit more, instead of it just being like one thing start to finish. So I quite like that element
Absolutely.
about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, with pleasure. So we were just a moment ago. We were also talking about Ray the Convent. And obviously you mentioned Jim, who obviously played a big part in that. He was in the band for 20 years, right? Uh,
Just about, yeah.
so that's a pretty long time, man. Do you and appreciate this might be a very personal question, but do you feel his absence on stage or in the
Oh,
studio?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We he everyone in the band currently is was familiar with Jim, and some of them actually worked with him on projects. And as I said, Noah, our guitar player, tormentor, he he's been working with the band for 13, 14 years. So he worked with Jim on some of Jim's other projects. So he
Oh,
knew him
okay.
really, really well. So um, yeah, the first boy, the first half a dozen shows that we did without Jim behind the kit was pretty difficult for me. Um, just it's just a different flavor having a different drummer back there, and then of course just the absence of Jim's personality was difficult.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's times. So the album "Red Is the Color of Ripping Death," the title track, um, I I actually do say, and Jim Sadist says "Red is the color of ripping death." So I actually say it's a little hat tilt and homage to Jim,
Yeah.
because that was something that he actually said to me. The title "Red is the color of ripping death," and so I wanted to put it in the song. So almost every live show we perform that song "Red is the color," and I get to say that in front of the crowd because Jim Sadis says "Red is the color of ripping death." So that's part of me bringing Jim on stage with me
Mm.
every time we do a show.
Yeah, I totally respect that, man. That's awesome. And you know what? The thing with that is people have to understand that being in a band with someone for nearly 20 years isn't the same as having a friend for 20 years or a colleague. Like being in a band, it's a different level of connection, because not only you're in the studio and you're spending all those times rehearsing and recording together, but also you're on the road brings you together in a way that nothing else can.
True.
It either drifts you apart like nothing else can, or it brings you together, which obviously in the case of you guys, I presume it was the former, since that you were managed to play together for such a long time. But it's like, to me, like with my band, we just did a tour with Absu and the Ancient guys from November to December, all across Europe. 17 dates, so just over 2 weeks. And there's like crew members just on that tour, or like previous tours that we've done, that like I might only see those guys like once in a blue moon, but every time I see them, there's an immediate close personal connection because we toured together. So, and that's only like 2 weeks. Imagine
Yeah.
what 19, 20 years looks like.
Yeah. Well, we just performed with Ancient at Under the Black Sun.
Oh, in
They
Germany.
played there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, great guys. Yeah, they were absolutely awesome. And how was that show for you?
It's a great fest. I mean, most of the black metal, at least for me, it goes over my head. I don't really understand it. But the our bass player, Malum, he is a encyclopedia, let's say, of black metal.
Oh
So
yeah.
for him, he was very excited to see most of those bands, and I guess Tormentor was the headliner of the fest,
Mhm.
and it was neat to see Tormentor. But for most of the other stuff, I was busy, and I was doing interviews and talking to people, and I had some friends there that I hadn't seen in a few years, so I didn't pay a lot of attention to the rest of the band. Although I did watch almost all of Ancient's set and most of Tormentor's set.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's it, man. Yeah, and I'm assuming Ancient did the 13 Candles cover. Yeah.
That I don't remember.
There we go. Maybe
They
they
may have.
changed it. They always do the Bathory cover, and maybe they changed it, but
I did not. Now I did not recall hearing them play 13 Candles,
yeah,
but they may have.
it was good fun. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We actually did that together on like the last date of the tour, and it was just on one of these shows where it's like a German gig, with like fairly like German crowd with like a little bit of how to say it, age to them, with all due respect, so the guys are kind of like not exactly like in a mood for like moshing, and whatever. They're super supportive, great crowd, but like, not exactly in that kind of mood, but yeah, me and my bass player in Trivex, we ended up going on stage with Ancient to do the Bathory cover, and then afterwards jumped in the pit. And it was literally like you know what German people are like, they're so like to themselves or whatever. They're like,
They're stoic. Yeah,
yeah,
they're stoic.
very stoic. And then we're there like fucking, like starting a violent pit with two people. Yeah. But it was good fun. Good fun. No complaints. Yeah. That's it, man. But listen, so what sort of gigs and plans you got coming up with the band as we wrap this up?
We have right now. We only have two confirmed shows. So one, we're doing a show in Columbus, Ohio, which is only about 3 hours away, and then we're doing a show in Cleveland, Ohio, which is about 5 minutes away.
I was gonna say
um,
that's where you're based, right?
yeah. So and our bass player, his wife runs the club called No Class. So and when we played there, I don't know, probably 2 dozen times. So those are the only ones that are actually been announced. We are kind of working on a South American tour, but the I guess the dates and venues haven't been confirmed yet. And then might just take it easy for the rest of the year, and then hopefully February March we'll do a full U.S. tour with another band. We're trying to see. We have some opportunities to work with 3 other bands, and we're going to see how that develops. But yeah, and then next year will be our 40th year, and hopefully we'll be able to get back to Europe, and I would like to get to the United Kingdom too. We've only ever done one show in London, and that was got to be 15, 18 years ago. So we should really get to the United Kingdom.
I'm going to keep that in mind, man, because that was going to be my next question if you're coming back to the UK at any point. And I didn't realize it had been that long since you played. So yeah, let me keep that one in mind. So next year, 27, 40-year anniversary. So yeah, it makes perfect sense to make it happen, right?
I think it's time. And we also need to get back to Australia. We haven't been to Australia in, I don't know, 20 years as well. And we've never performed in New Zealand, so that would be part of maybe a Southeast Asia tour. We could hit New Zealand and Australia, but that won't be until probably late next year if that happens.
Yeah, that would be cool, man. That would be cool because those guys, they have such great bands over there as well, and they never get to actually really make it across. It's always harder for them to come across and do tours and shows and stuff over here, you know, and I feel like as a result, a lot of the great shit that they have doesn't really get discovered. But I feel like in terms of like proper aggression in metal, they have like some of the best stuff in Australia.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a fan of Slaughter Lord and Sadistic Execution for many years. And I was a fan of Hobbs Angel of Death. And, you know, those bands aren't around anymore. But we actually, when we toured with Reverend Chris Hades from Sadistic Execution. So I got to know him a little bit. And I'd love to run into him again and trade stories of memories that we think we have.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, no, I mean, Sadistic, I'm a crazy big fan of. I'm totally with you on that, you know. And I think Rock, he seems like a really cool guy as well. We've spoken, and
yeah, he's done some artwork for Nunslaughter. I love his artwork.
Yeah, and, all right. Which albums did he do?
We did a split with.
I say albums. I should say releases.
Yeah, no, it was one EP, and I apologize. I don't remember the split that the band on the other side. But he did a piece of artwork for, and I've messaged him before about his artwork because I was just like, this is awesome looking, you know. And he's on Facebook posting older images that he's made.
So I've just looked it up, man. So he did for you Live Without Mercy.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
There we go. Yeah, and it looks killer. That's you know, vagina on the cover, tits, inverted crosses, skulls, perfect. Love it.
Spikes on everything. I love it.
Spikes, yeah, absolutely, man. There we go. Well, listen, Don, my man, what an absolute pleasure to speak to you. As I said, I really enjoyed the latest album. I think you guys are absolutely going to crush it. And yeah, hopefully you guys make it over to the UK for next year as well.
Yeah, and please, if we do, please come and introduce yourself. I'd like to meet you in person.
Yes, absolutely, man. I'm sure we will. We'll keep in touch anyway, man. But yes, yeah,
please.
My pleasure. And to everyone who's been listening as well, make sure you support the fuck out of Nunslaughter. If you go to the description of the video, there's a section that says support our guest, and all of their links are there. Make sure you support them. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Wonderful. Thanks, Ben.
Welcome to Iblis Manifestations.